Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and convos collide. I'm your host, Kobe Turner, aka the Cobra.
And it's me, Big Dog, Big Poom. Holla at your boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on. And old dog will be here in 1 second. He getting logged in. So we got a great show for you tonight. To all our viewers and listeners, we have renowned comedian impressionist Sylvia Morrison, straight out of DC, coming on the show this evening, approximately 8:15. But before that, me and the crew would like to recap. The Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. What's up, old dog?
What's up, fellas? Apologize for the late arrival. Was dealing with some traffic, and it's a little nippy out here, man. It's a little chilly out here. We dealing with some cold weather out here. So
We're 75, 80?
Yeah, man. It's a cold 65 out here, bro. Like you see, I got the scully on and everything, man. The hoodie. It's nippy
Don't
out
nobody want to
here.
hear that shit, man.
Oh, my bad. What y'all good over there?
Yeah. Hey, I'm walking through 10 inches of snow today.
Oh man, I don't know nothing about that, bro. Don't know nothing about that.
But luckily it's that wet snow. It's gonna melt. It's gonna be gone by tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's gonna be 52 tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. It's cold over here, bro. It's cold, 60, man.
Yeah, don't be petty.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So look, fellas. Old dog, I just told our viewers and listeners that we have an awesome guest coming on the show tonight. Dr. Sylvia Morrison, and she'll be on approximately 8:15. But before that, this gives us an opportunity to rap about that Super Bowl last week. And starting out with you, Pumi, man. What did you see from that Super Bowl? What did you like? What did you didn't like? Anything that you didn't expect?
I didn't expect them to get out on Kansas City ass like that, man.
Yeah.
But if you can create that amount of pressure with the same blueprint that Giants did when they beat the Patriots twice, if you can create pressure like that and move that quarterback off in space with just, rushing forward without having to blitz and play coverage behind it, man, it's tough to beat. And I don't think Andy Reid did a great job of making any calls to slow that rush down. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your thoughts on the Super Bowl, O?
Same thing. I just think that they got beat up front. It starts and ends with the guys up front. They was able to drop, 7, 8, and just let those 4 guys get after it. And they was just out. They just came out the gate just more physical, flying around to the ball, and it's also a lot of people don't understand, man. They did just beat a lot of those guys was on that team now that they just beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and they remember that feeling. So they wanted to. It's the ultimate payback. So they wanted to get those guys back, and a lot of people, Jalen Hurts, everybody talking about three-peat, and nobody really was giving Philadelphia a chance besides the Philadelphia fans. So
yeah.
I thought it was a disappointing game because I wanted to see a good, I thought it was going to be a good game. Like Poom said, I thought Andy Reid was going to make some adjustments, but Poomy could have came out of retirement and did better at left tackle or right tackle than those guys, man. Shame on those guys. They got their ass whooped bad.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how these jokers, man, you in the league, like, how do you continue to let him just bull rush you? Like, at some point,
hey, look, everybody, it's tough because we the critics, whatever.
Yeah, I get it, but
damn,
I'm just saying they was like, I'm just more of a man than you, and I'm gonna push you back. I ain't even gonna speed rush. I ain't gonna spin. I'm just gonna bull rush you, and they would just bull rush them. I mean, that's the ultimate. I'm a bigger man than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's as an offensive lineman. If somebody just repeatedly bull rush you, they just have no respect for you. Like, it's just I'm going through you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that shit was just amazing to me.
And then they was trying to chip and stuff. And a couple times they tried to keep the back end and chip, and that shit still didn't work. They spread them boys out, man. Them DNs or outside linebackers, whatever defense they was playing, man. They got that wide split, and them boys was on an island, man. And it didn't work out well for them. But
they whooped them so bad. Did you see when they tried to run a little tight end screen to Travis Kelce? You know, on the screen, you're supposed to get beat a little bit. You know, like you're supposed to block him for a half a second, and they get beat. This motherfucker beat Travis Kelce out of his fucking stance. I said, man, how the play going for you and you can't even get the first part right, man?
Hey,
that shit was absolute fucking domination.
Yeah, they dominated them boys.
Yeah.
They dominated. That's the thing about football. Any given Sunday, too. You know, it ain't like basketball. You know, basketball, the best. You know, you can go make those adjustments, come out, try something different. 7-game series. Football, any given Sunday, man.
Yeah.
And once that shit get rolling, it ain't like basketball where you come out, hit a couple threes, get a couple stops. And you're like, man, we done hit 9 in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like this 22-point game is only 13 now.
Yeah.
Them drives is long. Like it was.
Yeah, that's another thing they did. They kept Kansas City up. They had some, even when they didn't score touchdowns, they had some long drives, man. They had some long, and I think the Kansas City defense in the beginning, they was doing okay. You know, as far as, because you remember it was 14-7, but whatever it was, and they had only given up 7 and 14. You know, the other 7 was the pick 6. So they stopped them a couple times. They got the big interception. Number 6 got an interception down by the end zone.
Right.
They stopped them a couple times, and you know they was keeping them around. But I think that when they didn't score right before the half. D-Hop dropped that ball where it looked like he would have still been running right now.
Yeah, he tripped over his feet.
I said, oh, yeah. Right when D-Hop dropped the pass by himself like that, wide open. I said, yeah, shit over.
Yeah.
I said, shit over. I started smoking cigars and went back and got some more food. I said, shit, this is over. What you think, Cole?
Man, I mean, it was pure domination. Like from the very beginning of the game, I just thought that Philadelphia was the most physical team, and they bullied Kansas City. Obviously, if you watch Philadelphia play throughout the course of the season, the playoffs, you know, you're going to prioritize stopping Saquon Barkley. But I felt like Kansas City just they committed to trying to stop him too much. Yeah, where they wasn't even thinking about the other players out there on the field. I think they showed disrespect to Jalen Hurts, like a lot of people do. But
Money Mo, where you at, Money Mo? Money Mo, where you at, Money Mo? You would disappear when Jalen Hurts go on. Don't worry, next week we'll see you next Wednesday, Money Mo.
Yes, we will. Money Mo can't get away from this one.
I want to see him go against a defense, not Washington. Hey, Money Mo, where you at? Money Mo, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Give that man his props. That man ball. Go ahead, Cole.
And I think he was playing well throughout the season. He was definitely playing great football in the playoffs.
For sure.
And then we talked about this, when we saw him last time he was in the Super Bowl game against those Kansas City Chiefs, he looked like he was the best player on the field in that game.
Yes,
so
sir.
I just want to salute him, and you know he deserved his flowers because he was getting a lot of criticism, like he wasn't a great professional quarterback, but he wins games and he gets his team to a position to where they can compete for a title just about every year. I mean, last year that was like it was a weird year because they had a lot of internal conflict, but just think if it wasn't for that, they had an opportunity to go 3 straight years in my estimation, but they stomped Kansas City Chiefs, and they deserve that. They deserve that Super Bowl because they definitely was the best team, the more physical team, and they straight up bullied the Chiefs.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a coach go from fired? Week 5, 6, Nick Sirianni was fired. Everybody knew he was getting fired.
Yeah.
About to get paid because he
about to
he
get a
upped his
bag.
contract up. He about to get a bag.
But see, that's the thing. And Dan Orlovsky and all them people talking crazy, and they don't know. Sometimes you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on in the locker room. You
Yeah.
don't know what the bottom line is. Offensive, defensive coordinators, whatever. They started off 2-2. They messed around, made the adjustment, said, "Hey man, look, AJ, Devontae, we got Saquon, bro. We got to use them." They use them, and most receivers and stuff like that will want you to run the ball because now they got to put more people in the box, and that give me more one-on-one.
Absolutely.
You know, that's just like good shooters. If I'm a great shooter, I want to dump it off, and I know I got a great big man that can pass. I want to dump on the ball, and I'm getting ready to go spot up so I can get ready to shoot because he's gonna find an open guy. Same thing work.
Yeah.
You know, Kansas City, they relied on McDuffie. McDuffie can only cover one guy. You forgetting about Devontae, the boy Dotson that the Washington let go.
Yeah.
They let him go. They let his ass go. He was a first round. He didn't even make it 2 years. Washington Commander said, "Get your ass out of here." So, but with that being said, see, you go from being a first round pick. This man was a first round pick, top 20. Now your ass is fired, and you get traded and picked, and they say we don't want you. You go to Philly. Well, he go to Philly. He blessed. Who is he around? He around one of his college teammates, his OG. Saquon and Dotson was there at the same time. Dotson he was younger than him, but that's one of his OGs, right?
Yep.
Now I'm not relying on to be that dominant number 2. I can sit back and play in the slot and be the number 3 receiver. Man, and I want to prove some people wrong. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't do it in Washington playing backside of Scary Terry.
I agree.
Right? So, I think Philadelphia, man, all of them had something to prove, man. They all had something to prove. And them boy and whoever representing that boy, what's his name? They had them sacks, boom.
Sweat.
Yeah. Whoever representing him, I know they in Cabo somewhere.
Oh man.
Hey, look.
They arranged in the Brinks truck to get backed up to his garage.
Look here. What? Shit. We in Cabo. Ain't no need to get no Brinks truck. If the Brinks truck can't get to Cabo, we don't need to get it over here. We good. Y'all ain't seeing me. Shit. Couldn't be me. Absolutely. I'll be in Cabo in a villa somewhere. Chilling.
He got a $50 million check coming to him in the next couple of weeks.
I'm in Cabo. Then I'm going to South of France. I'm out of here.
Yeah. And fellas, before we introduce our special guest of the evening, I want to get your opinion on a halftime show. We had Kendrick Lamar performing.
Halftime show. You talking about the Lakers or Dallas Mavericks? You talking about your great offensive defensive player, Money Mo, Kobe Turner? You talking about your great defensive player, Anthony Davis? Halftime show.
Oh yeah. Well, he made a pass halftime. At least he made a pass. Okay. He made a pass halftime. Okay. But we talking about that performance by Kendrick Lamar, Super Bowl halftime. What was your thoughts on that performance? Because I know when we talked about it, when we first heard the news that he would be performing months ago, we were kind of split. I know I was one of those people who's like, I really don't want to see Kendrick Lamar perform at halftime because I just didn't think he had those type of hits to like keep the crowd engaged, and I didn't think he had that type of performance in him. And I know Pumi, you said he had black community hits. so what was your thoughts after finally seeing his performance? Start with you, Poom.
He had a message, but I could go the rest of my life with not ever seeing nothing from Kendrick Lamar. I just don't like his music. Like he just don't make good. He don't make music for me. Let me not say he don't make good music. He don't make music for me. I don't care for him. So this shit was boring as fuck to me. Did it have a message? Yes, but the message that it had, it went over anybody's head who it would have affected. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the black community got it, but white people ain't seen none of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's your thoughts, O-Dog?
Oh, I thought it was dope. I thought the whole concept was dope. I thought the creation, I mean, how they made it be like a joystick, the controller and all that type, and how it's a game, and having Samuel L. Jackson be Uncle Sam, and I thought all that joint was dope. You know what I mean? Now, do I ride around listen to Kendrick in my car? Not too much. Every once in a while, I play a couple of his songs. Do I think that was one of the better things? No, but I thought it was. I thought it was dope. I thought it was cool. But yeah, it was okay. It was all right. I love the I love the what yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. I thought it was a really good performance. I think he exceeded his expectations. Well, at least the expectations I had of him. I liked the message. He had the crowd engaged. He did a few teasers and stuff when we thought he was going to do the diss track against Drake, and then he pulled back and he did that 2-3 times, and then he finally did that song, did that record. But I think overall it was a good show. Just like you, Odo, I don't listen to Kendrick on my free time. Every now and again, I'll listen to a couple songs of his. But shout out to him. Great job. That was a great honor for him to be out there on that stage and perform in front of people who probably would never have seen him perform before. And just maybe a week or two before that, he was at the Grammy. So I mean, the momentum, he's really riding the wave right now. So continue to push forward and continue to push that positive message. And, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, I salute the fact that he it ain't no subliminals. He went right at him.
Yep.
Said his name, everything, and went right at Slim. You know what I'm saying? So salute to that, and can't wait to see what Drake do when he come back.
Okay.
So we'll see, I guess.
All right. Well, fellas, we got a special guest in the building, and let me go ahead and introduce her properly. So, our special guest for tonight is a comedian, a writer. She's a renowned African American female impressionist. Matter of fact, she's the only renowned African American female impressionist in the country. She was one of the first solo artists to tour and open up for Whitney Houston in venues that exceeded well past 30,000. She also wrote for one of the longest running TV shows, Saturday Night Live. And she even hosted a roast for the legendary heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Straight out of Washington, D.C., let me introduce the renowned Dr. Sylvia Morrison.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming. How you feeling?
It's for me, it's nothing like listening to brothers talk about sports. And each one has kind of like a different painting of a picture. And it just really, really, really just holds my interest. I like all three of the personalities that I just witnessed. Because I've been watching the three of you for a while, and it's like, oh, they ain't playing, they going hard.
Yeah, we do.
I loved it because I don't get an opportunity to appear on a lot of sports shows, and when I do, it's like a total different situation going on. So thank you so much for having me here. And thank you for that introduction. You laid it down there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You definitely deserve it, and it's an honor for you to be on this show tonight. And I know our viewers and listeners are excited to see this interview and hear more about you. So let's jump right into it. And on the No Cap Sports Show podcast, we like to start off from the beginning.
Wow.
So growing up. Washington, D.C. as a kid. Mm-hmm. I'm going to assume that your first dream wasn't to be an impressionist or a comedian. Like what was your dreams? What was your hopes? And who was that person that kind of motivated you and you kind of looked up to and wanted to be like?
Well, I started out wanting to be a judge.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to be, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a judge. I had no idea that I would head toward the entertainment industry. But what happened is I could hear things. God
Mhm.
gave me this gift. I could hear the flapping of a butterfly's wings. Now, not only could I hear it, I could also make the same sound. I could make the sounds of crickets. My folks used to think we had crickets in the house because I'd be doing imitations of crickets. And it wasn't until I guess I must have been about 10 or 11 years old. I was in this little singing group, and we got invited down to Mayor. Now I'm old now, so I'm gonna give y'all some history right now because
Okay.
I've been around. I've been doing this now for 56 years.
Wow.
56 of them. And so we got invited down to Mayor Walter Washington's office. Mayor Washington is the very first mayor of Washington, D.C. A lot of
Wow.
people think it was Marion Barry. No, it's Mayor Walter Washington. And when we
Lord.
got there, we were invited to go to his office to sing for this guy who was a jazz artist. Now, coming up in D.C., I grew up in Northwest Washington. I lived 12 blocks from the White House. No, it was not like it sounds. It was the ghetto. It was the straight ghetto, period. And when we went down to the mayor's office, I saw this old man. Now I'm young. I see a look like he about 40, old as dirt, because if you 9 or 10 years old, you think somebody 40 is like about to die, because that's what you think about old people. So I see this man sitting over in a chair, and he was by himself, and he looked like my dad, though. He looked like my father a little bit. So me with my little friendly, I'm very friendly, at least I was. And I went over there to him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, but do you know a man named John Morrison? My last name is Morrison." And he said, "John Morrison, I don't know." He said, "Why do you ask?" I said, "You just remind me of him." So he said, "So where do you live?" I said, "We live in the 1600 block of Corcoran Street, but you look just like my dad." So he said, "I tell you what, when you get home, tell your father that Duke Ellington said hello."
Wow.
I didn't know. Here go me. Here go me. Duke who? Oh, God.
Wow.
So I did not know who a Duke Ellington was. But when I got home and told my father who I'd met, he was like, "Well, did you get his autograph? Did you do anything?" I said, "I didn't know anything. I don't listen. I was listening to Motown. I didn't know nothing about jazz. I didn't know anything about that." And so it occurred to me that while I was talking to him and I saw some of the people there, I could imitate people. I could actually do I could sound just like someone. Like, and by the way, the whole Money Mo thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna fry. I'm gonna fire his ass up when he comes back on here. Yeah, because he talking about Jalen Hurts, talking about he wasn't gonna play good, but we talking about that later. Yeah, fire his ass up.
Let me tell you something. I truly enjoyed that whole little session. And so I'm listening to you guys, and I think I might be able to handle an impression of one of you. But I usually like to make sure I'm comfortable with doing an impression. So I won't do it tonight, but maybe if I'm ever invited back, I can bring one of y'all while you're there to the stage.
Hey,
So,
please do O Dog, please.
so I like the fact that you said let's go from the beginning because it's been for 56 years. It's been a journey. It's been quite a journey. And that was my first encounter with a big celebrity, and I didn't even know who it was. And it's almost been like that almost my entire career. I
Wow.
don't recognize people on the street. It's not that I don't want to. I have a hearing gift. I don't have a vision gift. So if I hear you, I got it. But
Mhm.
when I remember, I think I saw Debbie Allen or one of those people from the Cosby Show. They were like walking right in front of me. I didn't know who it was. I mean, I probably could have imitated, but I have a hearing gift and not a vision gift. So
Wow.
Okay.
you can.
When you what school did you go to? Like high school did you go to in Washington D.C. And then did you the high school that you went to did you study like performing arts or anything, or did you go into acting? Were you doing plays or something like that, or no?
You know what? That's a great question. I actually went to what is now Duke Ellington. When I
Mhm.
was in school, it was Western. But no, I never studied it until I got to college. I
Okay.
called myself studying, but it never had anything to do with what I do. I learned history and stuff, but I didn't learn how to do impressions or learn how to sing or learn. No, 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 no. My impressions came as a gift from God. And I remember as I got a little older, I created my own little singing group, and I named us the Supremes. And so every time people would say, "What's the name of your group?" I'd say the Supremes. They go, "No, no, 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 no. You can't be. There's already a group called the Supremes." But that's how much I loved Diana Ross. But when I first started doing impressions, there weren't that many Black women in the forefront that I could do. So most of my impressions were white girls. I did.
Mm.
You guys might be a little young to remember shows like the Beverly Hillbillies, um, the Ed Sullivan Show. These were shows that we had to watch because we didn't have any other shows to watch.
Right.
There wasn't a whole lot of Black shows like it is now. I think we had maybe four. And if any time a Black person came on TV, it was like gold. Everybody, the whole neighborhoods would go nuts. It's a Black person on TV. It was just amazing. It was amazing. So I was doing people like, and for the listening audience, because I'm sure I have a few people that couldn't wait for your podcast. They were like, I need to watch. I said, no, 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 it won't be shown the same night. But now I see that it is. It's live,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's live. We
Okay,
live. We live. You in the
that's
fire.
that's what's up. Okay, and so it was like there were no platforms for me to perform. None. I mean, there was nowhere to go. Like today, they have comedy clubs, they have open mics, they have a karaoke. It's like a lot. But back then, there was nowhere for a Black girl to get on stage and do what she did. Nowhere. So I'm watching this show one night called the Flip Wilson Show,
Mhm.
and these four girls came out. I think it was three or four, and they were from the Miss Black America pageant on national TV. And I'm sitting up there looking. I'm like, how did they get there? How did they get on national TV? Well, when I found out they were contestants from the Miss Black America pageant, the following year I entered because I wanted to be on national TV. Not because I thought I was a looker or anything like that, but I wanted that opportunity. And when I entered the pageant, I tied for first place with a girl named Bernadette Stannis, who happens to be Thelma from Good Times. We tied for
Damn.
first place. And that right. And at that time she wasn't Thelma yet, but they gave her a card the night of the pageant to go and audition for that role, and they sent me to Europe to entertain the American troops from the Vietnam War.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
yeah, it was deep. It was deep because I went from not having anywhere to performing in front of thousands and thousands of men and women who fought in the Vietnam War, and that was just incredible. I did the Sherry Shepherd show. She invited me on for Black History Month, and I told that story. And after the show, she told me, she said, Sylvia, first of all, that you tied with Bernadette Stannis. That's like, she was America's sweetheart, and
Mhm.
from Good Times. And here I was, nobody had no clue, nothing about who I was, what I was doing. But when I went to Europe, this guy kept checking me out and sending notes, and he said, when she gets back to the States, fly her out here to California. And that guy was Red Fox.
Oh wow.
He was my first manager, my very first.
Damn.
That is awesome.
It's
So
a
so you hey, so you was a first of a lot of things. So
mhm.
this young era, they got this term called flued out. So you
Mhm.
might have been the first one to have been flued out.
Yeah, but I went out to like he sent for me. I went out to LA and I found a comedy club. It's called the Comedy Store. It's huge now. It's like one of the most iconic comedy clubs ever. At that time, I was uh, in line to get on stage with Jay Leno, David Letterman, Robin Williams. I mean, all these white guys that went on to become amazing, multi, whatever you want to call it, millionaires, billionaires, whatever. And I was like the only woman that looked like me out there on stages with them.
Wow.
And so my father was down. I'm a daddy's girl, so when he got sick, I had to go home. I'm a big time daddy's girl, and he died, and I didn't want to leave my mother to go back to California. So I moved to New York. And in New York, I found a couple of comedy clubs, but none of them white guys would let me on the stage. It's like, why? Y'all let everybody get on the stage except for people that look like me. And I was the only one. And so finally, after about 6 weeks of running back and forth to this club called Catch a Rising Star, the guy who was the host said, you know what? You just don't give up. And he said, take 3 minutes. And that guy was Jerry Seinfeld.
Wow.
Wow.
So in my career, I've run into people like that the whole while. And I know it was God's blessing because I wouldn't have been able to find those people like that.
Right.
So if you don't stop me, I'll keep talking. So, you
So,
have
so,
questions.
Did you kill the 3 minutes though?
Say it again.
I said, did you kill your 3 minutes?
Oh my God, I didn't have any problems getting back on stage at open mics at all.
yeah, that's
And
what's
keep
up.
in mind that Jerry Seinfeld had not started his show yet. He had the Seinfeld show hadn't come on yet. So a lot of this stuff happened before all these people became famous. And I remember sitting home in the living room in New York one particular evening. And I picked up the paper and it said Muhammad Ali was coming to New York. They were roasting him and Richard Pryor was hosting. So I said, you know what? Wait a minute. Excuse me, I have a little granddaughter here. Yes, ma'am. I'm on the phone, okay? Huh? Go ask mommy, okay? Ask my. Thank you. And so, that was a surprise. They have instructions not to disturb me.
That's okay.
And so I read where Muhammad Ali was coming to town. They were at the Apollo Theater. They were roasting him, and Richard Pryor was hosting. Now, they got to let me in that show. I don't know how I'm going to get in there, but I didn't know anybody, but somebody had to let me on that show with Muhammad Ali being roasted by Richard Pryor, really. And all of the roasters were going to be like big sports stars. They had Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, Harry Belafonte is not an athlete, but I mean, it's Muhammad Ali. So, they had all these high tier people. And so I decided I would crash the roast. I got to be there. So I'm going to crash the roast. I know I'm gonna get locked up. I know the police are going to come get me. I knew this. I already knew it up front, but I didn't care because I figured this was a way for me to get in the newspaper. This was a way for Ali to find out who I was and for all the others, the celebrities and so forth to check me out because I did impressions. Weren't no other Black women doing them. None. So I was actually dating a guy that played in the NBA down in San Antonio. And I was in Texas when I got the call. One of the girls who was in the pageant with me, because Dick Gregory was the host. I mean, he was the producer. And he couldn't find anybody because it was the day of, and everybody was already booked. So she said, you got to get this girl, Sylvia. She'll handle it, I promise you. So he said, bring her in. No script, no nothing. Pryor called and said he couldn't make it. So that's why they called me in. And at the end of the roast, because it was so much, it was so incredible. It was just incredible. Here I was, somebody wanted to crash the roast. Now I'm ended up hosting it. So at the end of the roast, Ali, after I introduced Muhammad Ali, and I rarely call people by their names like that. I usually say Mr. Ali or whatever. I'm a very respectful artist. So Mr. Ali came out on that stage and I told him, I said, wait a minute, give me a minute. I have something because I had just learned to do my impression of him. So I went out on the stage, I did the impression, and he came out and grabbed my hand, took me to the front of the audience and held it up and said, you doing me? A woman doing me? That's awesome. And the whole place went nuts. And right after that, Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live came to me and said, you need to meet my boss. Took me to NBC. Lauren Michael signed me, told me he hired me right on the spot.
Wow. So talk to us more about that experience being Saturday Night Live. I mean, that's such a
wait, hold. We can't just get off the fact that she talking about she was dating one of these San Antonio Spurs. It's the No Cap Sports Show podcast. Hey, wait a minute. But hey, that wasn't happened to be George Gervin, was it?
Who did you say George?
Was it George Gervin?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
But let me say,
The finger roll.
Iceman.
Iceman.
George Gervin. You know what? I paid tribute to him at one of my shows because that guy, because he was teammates with the one I dated.
Yes, ma'am.
He was so kind to me. I will always have a spot in my heart for him. He was a gentleman. He was kind. He was respectful.
Yep.
And he was talented on that daggone basketball court. He was
Yeah.
all of that. No, I
Salute.
dated a forward.
There we go.
So,
Say no more.
there you go. So anyway, after I got the job with Saturday Night Live as an associate writer, y'all need to you don't need to, but you should understand that it wasn't a bowl of cherries for a black female in comedy back then. It wasn't. I don't care how many accolades I earned as a result of what I did. I never got as a matter of fact, they wrote a book about comedians laugh be a lady, and they got me in the chapter with Cloris Leachman, Mary Tyler Moore, all these queens of television, and but that Muhammad Ali roast opened a whole lot of doors for me. First of all, Mr. Ali was in his prime.
Wow.
He was in his prime when he was I think he was in his mid-30s. And when they brought him downstairs on the stage for me to introduce him, I'd never seen a man like him. I'd never seen anybody that even so much as even looked like him. I mean, the suit he had on at that time, we're talking 1979. I know that suit had to be anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000, which is probably equivalent to about $40,000 or $50,000 now. But he was built. I'd never seen a man built like that. And then he was handsome. He was charming. He was funny. He was everything. And so for him to come out on the stage and grab me and take me to the front of the stage and tell people how good I was, it got me a job as an associate writer for Saturday Night Live. So.
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for him.
Yeah. And being an African American, not just African American, but African American woman, and I know you mentioned Red Fox. Was there anybody else that kind of took you under their wing and helped you navigate through getting to where you needed to go?
You know what? That's the I'm going to say a name, and I think you guys may recognize it because he was local. Nobody would give me any work, but Chris Thomas saw me one night. I don't know if y'all know who Chris Thomas is.
I know Chris. He used to be on BT.
Yes,
The
mayor of Rap City. Yeah, Chris saw me one day, and he said, "You know what? You need to be all over the country." He said, "Because nobody's seen anything like this. Nobody's seen a woman doing what you do." So he took me around all over the country to stages, and I have the utmost respect for Chris to this day. He's probably my best friend in comedy.
Wow.
And he didn't have to do all that he did. He really didn't, because he was popular at the time. He knew everybody. What's it? D.L. Hughley, Bill Bellamy, all these guys love Chris. Jamie Foxx wanted him to come out to California to stay out there with them, so he could get his career together. So yeah, Chris was somebody who took me around. But as far as me having someone to look up to, or what do you call it? When you take out I didn't have anybody.
mentor.
Yeah, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have none of that. None of it. Not a bit. None. Nothing.
Wow. And DC is such a hotbed for comedians.
Oh, that.
And you have Tommy Davidson, Martin, Dave Chappelle, Earthquake, Donnell Rollins, Red Man. Yeah, the list goes on. So did you ever interact with those folks, like coming up in the comic world? And I know I listen to a lot of interviews with comedians, and they always talk about something called I think it's the Chitlin Circuit or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever experience that?
You know what? I remember when each one of those people that you named started comedy. I was there. I was there to see them when they first did. As a matter of fact, I have a friend we did a film, and you guys may have seen it, I don't know, it's called The Mecca of Comedy. And it talks about the very people you just named. And it's pretty new. They just released it about 5 or 6 months ago. And it's streaming on all the major networks, I think, except for Netflix. And I think, yeah, all the other streaming lines. You guys should watch it. It's wonderful. Everybody that you just named is in there, including myself and people who, like Mike Brooks, Red Grant, all the DC comics, because they claim that DC is the mecca of comedy. So yeah, I knew all those guys. My friend has footage of Chappelle, Martin, Tommy Davidson, all of them, when they were like 16 years old. It's amazing. Now, Tommy Davidson, whenever he comes to town, if I come to his show, he's going to put me on stage. I've never come to a Tommy Davidson show and he didn't say Sylvia's in the house. Y'all coming out.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And I actually came off the road a couple of months ago with George Wallace.
Okay.
And one of the highlights of my career is I got a call one night. I was home and they told me that Whitney Houston was in town and she didn't have an opening act. Could I come down to the Warner Theater and open for it? Yeah, so I ran down there and I opened for it. Went well. I got like 3 standing ovations. And at the end of the show, she came back to me and she said, "You know what? When I go on the road, I'm gonna take you with me."
Wow.
And daggone if she did not lie. She took me. I did like 23 cities with her, not just opening for her, but hanging out and learning Whitney Houston.
Wow.
That's
dope. We got a DC guy right there. Poon, what you got? What you got? You a DC resident?
I was going to ask you, what's your favorite impression, or what do you think is the one that you do the best?
Every show that I've been on, if they've heard me before, they'll say, "Do Whoopi Goldberg." So if you want Whoopi, I'll give it to you right quick.
Let me hear Whoopi.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. I don't mind when people want to hear me, so I just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that was dope.
It's crazy that you say Whoopi Goldberg, because that's what I was thinking about when you talking about coming through, as a black woman.
Yeah.
In the 80s, that was the only like mainstream representation of black women.
Absolutely, yes, it was.
So, have you ever had an opportunity to work with her or tour or anything like that?
No, I haven't, but I have been, I'm going to say, blessed to I've never worked with Whoopi, but I know that she knows that I exist. I've heard, Sherry Shepherd. I did, like I said, I did the Sherry Shepherd show, and I bought Whoopi on there, and I bought Wendy Williams on there. I bought Dionne Warwick. I bought a bunch of, if you go to YouTube and search for Sherry and Sylvia, I'll come up. And I've never got a chance to actually meet Whoopi, but people have come back and told me some things that she said, and very nice, very nice.
Did you ever get into the with doing impressions and stuff like that or whatever? Did you ever go think about when you throughout your career maybe doing it voiceovers and stuff, like for movies or for anything, or like any type of like animation or cartoons or something like that? Did you ever?
That would have been good, but I was so busy traveling with folks,
Gotcha.
running around the country, running around the world, actually.
Gotcha.
Stuff. So I never got a chance up until lately. I got a call about 2 months ago, I guess, and this was so big that I just didn't know how they decided to choose me. I do know how they decided to choose me, but it was like a surprise. So this Jewish guy, rather. I'm sorry. Whew, I gotta be careful. This Jewish guy calls me on the phone. He said, "Miss Morrison, we've been looking for you for about 6 months, and we couldn't find any information on you. And I happened to see that you were on social media." And he said, "I don't know if you remember Rich Little." And I said, "Rich Little was the only other person in the world that I knew who did impressions. And he was a white guy. So He said, well, we're working on a documentary for him. And then they started naming the people who were going to be on the documentary as well. And I was like, oh my God, this is a group. I mean, supposedly the top echelon of comedians and actresses and actors. People like Mary Tyler Moore, Carol Burnett, names that today's generations don't know about, but they actually turned over the top for people to be able to come through and do what they do. And they included me on this particular event that they're doing. And it's like such an honor. It's
Wow.
such
Wow.
It's like such it's almost like, I don't know if you remember, Cole, but I'm going to be at the Kennedy Center. I don't know now that Donald Trump has
I
decided.
was going to say, is
yes.
Trump going to keep you on the bill?
He might. Now, let me tell you why he probably will keep me on the bill. This is just what I think. I'm a clean comic. I don't curse. I am not vulgar at all. Straight entertainment and history. I'm a little nervous about the history that I do because, they certain.
Yeah, we get you. We got you. We got you.
All
we
right.
got you. We got you.
Thank you. That's what what I knew I was going to like. As soon as I turned in, I said they're going to understand. These guys going to understand.
Yeah,
So,
we understand.
I'm scheduled to be there April 19th for 2 shows, 2:00 and 7:30. And
Okay.
I can't tell you the people across the country who have called and said, congratulations. We don't get to do that. We don't. But they're bringing me in basically because of my history.
That's awesome.
Because of my history.
That's awesome. Miss Sylvia, are you a Washington Redskins fan?
You know what? I didn't get into football until maybe about 2 years ago.
Oh,
but
okay.
I knew about college. I knew college sports way better than I did. Like I know your dad.
My dad?
And his brother, Carl and Daryl. Your uncle and good gracious alive.
Them Evans boys, wow, right? And them Turners, wow.
Oh, you know about the Turners and the Evans and the
yeah. My dad is Boo Boo, Wendell Evans.
No.
Yeah, that's my father. Me and Kobe first cousin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What? I did not know.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know I loved your father?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've been to he and his wife's house.
Yeah.
They welcomed me with open arms. I love that whole clan, y'all's whole everybody in the family. I had no idea you were going to be on this show.
I appreciate that.
That is amazing.
And that's my brother up there from another mother. We threw him away and he came back with a vengeance. And
and you know what? I kept looking at you and I kept saying, God, he looks familiar.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Old Boo Boo. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
For sure.
They definitely wouldn't let Boo Boo at the Kennedy Center. Donald Trump turned that off.
Hey, Boo Boo ain't going nowhere.
Boo Boo wouldn't even be able to buy a ticket to the Kennedy Center.
Oh my God. So, and who else I loved is Bernard.
Oh yeah. And then did you ever what you doing comedy, our Uncle Andy,
Andy is the guy who has the film pieces of Chappelle and Martin and Tommy. That's his work.
Yeah,
that work belongs to him. It's in the film, The Mecca of Comedy. I know Andy real well. As a matter of fact, we're engaged.
Shout out to our Uncle Andy and welcome to the family.
I thought you missed it, cuz.
Welcome to the family. What's up, Auntie?
Oh boy, oh good.
Oh man.
That's good. So Andy sits around all the time and he has me tell his stories. As a matter of fact, he used to be a counselor at George Mason University.
Yes, man.
And they welcomed him. Oh no, Melly, please.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's my grandbaby.
We know Catch Sports Show podcast. We used to that. That's
yes, sir.
She turned the light out. go turn it back on. So
Take your time.
okay.
Hey, boom.
I know she did. She
Yeah.
wants my attention, but she doesn't understand. I'm on the phone with royalty. I'm on the phone with royalty. Okay, let me see. Is this better? Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Okay. So
You good?
yeah, so Andy they invited him out the other night to George Mason because he was the guy who took the first black students and brought them into George Mason University. He's that guy.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm now I know I'm just thrilled that I'm on this podcast.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on the show, family. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He knows that I'm on your show tonight. He was like, don't forget to remember that's family now. And I said, okay.
we got it. We gonna get Uncle on here.
He would love it. Based on what I saw the first part of this podcast, because he thinks the world of Carl and Daryl, and that's like them his boys, and Boo Boo was like his other hand. He just loved
got a good group right there. That's a good group. Yeah.
I had no idea that y'all.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is so wonderful. This is happening. I'll be bragging. Carl and Jean just called me last night.
Wow.
And what's his name? Used to play for the Redskins.
Leslie
Shepard.
Leslie Shepard. Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Called me last night, and I get to talk to the family a lot. I came in the family, and they kind of liked me, so I'm so excited about that.
I can't wait. Yeah, next time I'm back on that East Coast, we definitely got to get together and grab lunch or something for sure.
Right. And you know what? Who else? I would love to see Brian on this show with y'all.
Right.
And son, Brian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you and him, y'all talk a lot alike. Y'all be getting it down. Y'all put it.
I don't really have no cut cards, Auntie. I keep that. It is what it is with your nephew. Oh, it ain't no. I'm trying to get a little better. It seems to me like what you just said though, Auntie. What you just said. You said you like what I was doing. But we got the higher ups, Auntie. We got the higher ups. They trying to keep me quiet. They don't want me to be old dog.
If you ever get on a TV show, on a sports show, it's gonna be on. And I got somebody who won't leave me alone. I tell you, I'm at my daughter's house, so they all. Anyway,
tell us a little bit about what you got going on, though. Tell our listeners and viewers about what you got going on now in the future, and some things and how you see the DC comedy circuit now, like compared to how it was when you were coming up. Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
I like that because I've been watching comedy for 6 decades almost.
Yes, ma'am.
And each 10 years, it changes up. Each 10 years, it's like now we're in the era of the internet, streaming, people doing videos. They don't do a lot of stand-up in the clubs like that, like they used to do anymore. As a matter of fact, when I first started, it was the comic that opened for the singers, as opposed to the singers.
Wow.
Yeah. There was Red Fox. He'd be out there with Ella Fitzgerald opening.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Andy Evans wrote a play for me entitled "The Return of Jackie Moms Mabley," and we've showed it at the Carlisle and at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts and the Howard Theater. And what he did was he brought up 8 divas from back in the day who paved the way for a whole lot of people. Ella Fitzgerald, she was a scat artist, and he said, "Can you scat, Sylvia?" And I said, he said, "How about awesome. Wilson? Can you hit?" He said, "How about Sarah Vaughan?" I said, "Look at me. I'm as a kitchen up a tree." So he pulled up uh, Seven Divas, and that's who we brought on stage with Moms Mabley. So
Wow.
right now, my big show coming up, if Trump doesn't cancel it, is the Kennedy Center, April 19th, 2025. I have 3 books. I've written 3 books. I wrote one, my early autobiography. Whitney Houston's tour with her was like so iconic for me. I ended up writing a book inspired by her entitled Jelly Beans from Heaven. And then I wrote my last book I wrote was Me, Satan, God, and COVID-19. Because I had
Mm.
COVID with pneumonia, and it was the most horrible thing ever. So I had once I got well, I sat up, and Andy took care of me the whole while I was sick with COVID. He never left me the whole time I was sick with COVID. Not one day did he leave out the house. He made sure I had everything I needed. So I have to always salute him on that. And he was there when I wrote the book, and he thought it was, he thought it was a great book. And so they're all on Amazon, or you can come on my social media pages and pick up a copy. I'd be honored to sign it and send it out.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
Miss Sylvia, let the viewers and listeners know what your social media
Social
handles
media,
are.
yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
I'm on Facebook at Sylvia Traymore Morrison. Traymore is spelled Tray, like a tray and more, More. Sylvia Traymore Morrison, and on Instagram I'm Sylvia T Morrison, and on TikTok Sylvia T Morrison, on Wick Wok, Woo Woo, and Wham Wham, and all the other social media stations. It's usually Sylvia T Morrison. Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And Miss Sylvia, speaking of comedians opening up for singers, there's several more heavy hitters that you didn't mention that I've read that you opened up for. There's Cher, The
Hmm.
Temptations, Shaka Khan, Gladys Knight. I mean, talk to us a little bit about that experience. That had to be wonderful.
Well, it's almost like those there's a whole lot more too. As a matter of fact, I got hired to go to Vegas to host the Play Awards in Las Vegas. And while I was there, I wanted to go. I hadn't met George Wallace yet. I didn't know Monique, but I wanted to see them on stage. So I had Chris Thomas to call both of them and tell them that I was in town. And so they both invited me to come to the show. So I went to Monique's show first. She was on her residency. And so they set me in the VIP section, and Monique came out on the stage. But I talked to Rodney Perry first. I don't know if you guys know who Rodney Perry is,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
he said, "Ooh, Miss Sylvia, daggone Monique gonna love you." So when her show was over with, I saw him talking to her. Now, by the way, all of these stories will be told at the Kennedy Center, but in full length. So I saw Rodney talking to her while she was just getting off her show, and she had tears in her eyes. And so she came. He told her all about me. She came over to me and she said, "How you doing, Miss Sylvia? You know what? Let me apologize to you, my baby, because I've never heard of a Sylvia Traymore Morrison. I don't know who a Sylvia Traymore Morrison is." I'm doing my impression of her, y'all, so I hope y'all.
Yeah,
I
we
got it.
with you. We with you. We with you. We with you.
So she called me to the back. She took me in her dressing room, and her entire staff was there: the hairdresser, the makeup artist, the road manager, the manager, all, I mean, just everybody. And she set me down in a chair, and she sat in front of me. And she said, my team and I just had this conversation this morning. She said, "I've been promoting this black woman who was a rapper back in the 1800s." And she said, "Nobody knows who she is. And I felt like they need to know who she is." And she said, "She came to me this morning." Y'all got to get ready for this now. I'm going to hit you upside the head. I'm getting ready to hit you. She said, she came to me this morning and told me, "Don't worry about promoting her." She said, she told me, "I'm going to send you who you need to be promoting." And she said, "And Miss Sylvia, you walked in the door." And
Wow.
from that day forward, if you go and listen to the Shay Shay interview with Monique, and towards the end, you'll hear her telling Shay Shay about me.
Wow.
It's amazing. It was out. She called me up. She said, "Did you hear the interview?" I said, "No." She said, "I just got off with Shay Shay." And I told him all about you because my first pay in comedy, my first time I got paid was at a white club in downtown DC called the Comedy, um, what is it? The Comedy Connection or the something. And he was on K Street. And they asked if I wanted to open for this white girl, Elaine Boozler, who I love. And I said, sure, I want to, because it was going to give me a chance to get on the stage. Nobody else was giving me no opportunity.
That's
So
right.
I opened for her. And at the end of the show, everybody usually sat at the bar to get paid. So I sat at the bar, and the owner said, okay, so what are you drinking? And I said, I don't drink. And he said, well, you got to drink something. So I said, okay, a Coca-Cola. I'll take a Coke. That was my pay. My first payment as a comedian was a Coca-Cola. But I'm gonna bring it full circle. I'm gonna bring it full circle. So then he said, "How about Rosie O'Donnell? You want to work with Rosie O'Donnell?" I said, "Sure." So Rosie O'Donnell came. I opened for Rosie and sat down at the bar. He fixed me a Coke and handed me a $5 bill. So when Monique heard that story, she was pissed off. You know how she does. Y'all know how
Yeah.
she. She said, "You
Yeah.
tell me they actually gave you a Coca-Cola?" And I said, Monique, I'm not angry about it because at that time, we're talking like the late 70s, early 80s, I wasn't getting no stage time. So just for the exposure, I was happy for that. So what they've done now is reached out to Coca-Cola to tell them that I was doing Coca-Cola back then and I'm doing Coca-Cola today. So that's my hopefully new contract I'll get and get
Oh, that's
some of
good.
those
Yeah.
six-figure numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There you go.
And
There
so
you go.
then after I did Monique's, after I talked to Monique, she invited me to do her residency with her. So I did 6 shows out in Vegas on her residency. And
Oh, that's
when
awesome.
I tell y'all it was crazy, on the last night, George Wallace walked in. And when I got off the stage, he ran behind me to the dresser. He says, hold up. Who you? How come I don't know nothing about you? He invited me to do his show in DC at the Bethesda Blues and Jazz.
Yeah.
And so after it went so well, he took me on the road. I think I did 15 shows with him. And
Wow.
we've been friends, me, Monique, Joe, all of us, we've been friends for the longest. All the people that I've had an opportunity to work.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Beautiful.
that's
Awesome.
part of my story, and you'll hear that at the Kennedy Center. And I have several more that are like absolutely insane, just insane. And I
Wow.
know that God blessed me with those because I followed instructions. I never gave
Mm.
up. I never gave up. So he's still giving me stuff. You know, I was in Jacksonville 3 nights ago, and all the comics down there said, Do you know what, Sylvia? If we had an opportunity to be at the Kennedy Center, do you know how huge that is? I said, God he just I don't know. I'm thankful. I'm just very thankful. And
That's
I'm
awesome.
thankful to be here tonight with you because these guys have blessed my heart. You guys have blessed my heart to know who you are. This is crazy.
Mhm.
Thank you.
No, thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
uh,
anybody want to know anything else? Because
yeah, Miss Sylvia, I wanted to ask you this. In terms of impressionists, who do you think is the best impressionist coming up that you see?
coming up in DC or in the country?
In all of comedy.
I think I think Jamie Foxx is coming for the number one position
Hmm.
because I've seen him do everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good man, there are a lot of good impressionists out there. And Chris gonna get me for that because Chris is an impressionist. Chris Thomas is an impressionist. As a
Mm-hmm.
matter of fact, if I'm at a show with Chris and he sees that I'm in the audience, he's going to call me up on the stage and we go back and forth.
Yeah.
He'll do Howard Cosell, I'll do Muhammad Ali. He'll do Billy D. Williams, I do Diana Ross. You know, that kind of thing. And it's really, really entertaining. So,
Nice.
I'm gonna have to include Chris up there in my top 3.
Okay.
And
Like impressionists I like. Do you ever listen to Ari Spears?
oh, I love Eric Spears.
Oh, he's a great
Yes,
impressionist.
yes, I
Yeah.
love him. So it's like, yeah. And it's funny because when people like uh Chappelle or Tommy. I remember I did Wendy Williams on Tommy's show one day. He was in Baltimore at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. and I bought the Wendy Williams out, and he flew to the front of the stage. He said, "Oh my God, you sound just like her." And I said, "Oh my God, oh my God, how you doing?"
That's tough.
Yeah. So I love Aries Spears. Yeah, I do. But Tommy, oh, let me put Tommy in there too. What am I doing? I forgot. I gotta put Tommy in. He does excellent impressions. Excellent.
I got a question for you, and it's not just about impression.
Okay.
Give me your top 5 comedians.
You know what? It's interesting because Tony Woods and I had that conversation, and he said, and he told me, he said, "I'm not too happy when I see posts that say, who are the best 5 comedians that you know of?" He said, because it's almost like, and I'm not saying this is yours. I know you're talking directly to me. You're not asking
Right.
the public. You're
Right.
asking me. So I can answer that. I feel comfortable answering that. But when they get online and say name, you get 1,000 responses. This one, that one, this one, this one, this one. And it's like, it's, I came up with Richard Pryor. I have to love Richard
It's
Pryor.
no order. Just your maybe 5 that you like. That if you got to listen to 5 that you like or whatever. It's no particular order. So that's
Okay.
one.
So
You got
that's
4
George
more.
Wallace.
2.
I'm sorry, Monique.
That's 3.
It was so many behind them. I'm like, I'm gonna reserve my last 2 for the next time I come on the show if I'm invited back.
There you go. Say
Is that
no more.
okay? Is
Well,
that
how
all right?
about this? Give me a young. Go ahead, Poon.
I was gonna ask you this: through all your time and all your travels and all the shows you did, who's the one comedian who you like? Man, I don't want to come behind this one. I don't want to have.
That's such a good question because everybody says that Sylvia can follow anybody because she's so different. I don't come out and try to make the audience laugh. I go straight. They're so not ready for me. They're
Right.
so not ready to see a woman doing impressions. Think about the last time you saw a black female on stage doing impressions. I'm talking about straight impressions, just straight. When's the last time you've seen that?
We haven't.
I can't remember.
So
Yeah.
I haven't. It's not that. I guess God just gave me a wall of confidence. I'm not afraid to go behind anybody. I don't care who you are. It's
There you go.
because I'm going to be able to entertain you differently than what that person that just got off the stage does.
Salute.
Yeah.
Salute.
Absolutely.
Salute.
So Miss Sylvia,
Yes.
before we get out of here, is there any words of wisdom that you would like to give? Maybe an inspiring comedian, impressionist, or writer, or whatever they want to do in life. Any inspiring words you want to give our viewers and listeners that may need that extra push or motivation to get to where they want to go.
Well, that I appreciate you asking that because I've been told that if you open the dictionary and look for the word perseverance, you're going to see my picture. And I told you guys earlier, I'm a daddy's girl. My father served in 2 wars. He served in World War II and the Korean War. And all he bragged about was when he died, they would give him a 21 gun salute. That's all I don't know if I know any man in the world who loved being a soldier more than him. I don't think I know anybody. And his whole thing was to have a 21 gun salute. He said, you guys have never seen anything like it, talking to me and my sisters and brothers. And he said, they're going to give your mother a flag, and then they're going to give me a 21 gun salute. He said, and I promise you, you will never experience anything like it. So the day when he died, I already got that to keep in mind. I'm daddy's girl. When he died, sure enough, they folded the flag and they gave it to my mother. And I'm in tears now because I know the one thing he wanted all his life was about to take place. And I'm gonna bring this full circle too. The one thing he wanted all his life was about to go down. He was about to get his 21 gun salute. But I saw the soldiers leave. So I ran beside the soldiers, ran up to him and said, excuse me, sirs, but my dad's getting a 21 gun salute. And they said, ma'am, no, he's not. We have a captain who's getting a 21 gun salute, and he takes precedence over your father. So we have to go and give him the 21 gun salute. Guys, when I tell you the level of devastation I had, knowing that my father was waiting on that 21 gun salute, I didn't worry about it. I said, you know what? I got this. So I went home and I said, I'm going to write the president of the United States and tell him what happened. And to make the story short, I ended up writing 6 United States presidents from President Carter all the way to Barack Obama. And no, nothing. I didn't get any, they always said, we moved your letter to the State Department, and they would say, contact your congressman. Just a lot of crap. So for 46 years, I went through the Pentagon. I went through the Navy. I went through the presidents. I went to vice president. I went to every place I could think of to get my dad his 21 gun salute. And here it comes. So I met this guy up in Pennsylvania whose neighbor, his ex-boss, was friends with Barack Obama. And they talked about it. And finally, they hooked me up with the Air Force. And they said, are you serious? You've been waiting 46 years to get your father 21 gun salute? I said, that's my daddy. Whatever I'm supposed to get him, I'm going to get it. And so they made arrangements. They told me, y'all going to love this. I love this. I'm getting ready to cry. So she said, tell us, you have to go through the Army, because he was an Army person.
Right.
But we're Air Force. If they don't want to do it, we'll do it. And so that really gave me encouragement, and confidence. So the Army, when I finally because I talked to the Army 100 and some times, and they said, no, we gave them a flag and that's it. I said, well, that was for one war. What about the other war? So the Army said, we'll do it. So on April 19th, 2024, they gave my father his 21 gun salute. He died in 1977. But here's the killer. Here's the highlight of the story. April 19th, 2024, they gave him his 21 gun salute. They hired me to come to the Kennedy Center April 19th, 2025. Talk to me, y'all.
That's tough.
Amazing.
Everybody, girl, your father worked for you. He got that date for you.
Man, that's tough.
Amazing.
So for all the ladies out here who have a father, I mean, all the girls, children, whatever, if you have a father, I hope you love him as much as I loved mine, because my father was amazing. And your boo-boo was amazing. Your Carl is, y'all got amazing dads. And I'm speaking from a female perspective, because I wouldn't have been able to live like I lived if my father had never gotten his 21 gun salute. I prepared my daughters that if I died before he got his 21 gun salute, to keep it moving. Yeah. Make sure he gets that salute. And I've been invited. As a matter of fact, I'm doing the Northern Virginia Veterans Organization. I'm a keynote speaker for them because of that story.
As you should. You should be the whole Washington, D.C., Maryland, Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia, shit.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody saying nothing else after that. It's over.
But I do want
to curtain, drop the mic.
Yeah.
I love y'all. This is so much fun. So for upcoming comedians and stuff, if you don't really love it, it's gonna be tough. You gotta love this game. You gotta love it. You gotta eat it. You gotta drink it. You gotta speak it. You have to dream it. You have to do all of that, because comedy is the only job in the world that a person can get and not need any credentials. You don't have to have a teaching, a diploma. You don't have to have nothing. You can just wake up one day and say, I'm a comic. But baby, when you hit them stages, it's a whole different world. You got to be able to take the downs with the ups, because people gonna boo you. They'll do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just fortunate. I've never had a heckler, not one day in my entire career, not once.
Wow,
not once. So there.
Awesome.
But Boo Boo Jr., you are funny. You said drop the mic. That's the end. That's
it's over. It's over. Tonight, thank y'all for coming out.
You guys think that's interesting that he would get his 21 gun salute on the 19th of April?
That's beautiful.
And then they give me the Kennedy Center April the 19th, 2020. It's like, what?
Yeah, it only can be one thing. That's Pops looking over.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful story.
And awesome. I've had soldiers when I tell that story when I'm on stage, because I don't do any more shows now without asking. If you see me at a show, you're going to hear me say, if you're a veteran, if you wear a uniform, whatever, please stand, because I want to thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Every show I do, I give that up to these men and women.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Miss Sylvia, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know our viewers and listeners enjoy hearing your story. This was an awesome interview. You're
Thank you.
definitely welcome back anytime you want to come on. Your family. This is your living room. So come on
Thank
in
you.
whenever you want. Kick your feet up, and just vibe with the fellas. And then also, I didn't get to formally tell you that I want to just to thank you for speaking and performing at my father's 70th birthday party. That
Oh,
was awesome, and it meant a lot to everyone.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. It was my honor because your father is he's so golden that when he got up there and talked, none of us could believe it. It was like, wait a minute, Carl doesn't talk. He's a
yeah,
doer. He
yeah.
gets the job done. But I had a ball that evening. So thank you guys for inviting us.
Thank
'Cause-
you, thank you too. And viewers and listeners, make sure you go get those tickets for the April 19th show at the Kennedy Center and go support Miss Sylvia Morrison and
thank,
watch her do her thing.
thank you so much. It was good, y'all. I enjoyed it. I really
We
did.
appreciate you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is the
you.
No Cap Sports Show podcast with Miss Sylvia Morrison. See you next week. Salute.
Bye bye.
Salute.